The time is just gone 13 minutes past 9 a.m. as we continue with the broadcast this morning. And as we welcome our listeners, our viewers on Salam Media once again, and also One Nation 88.9 FM out of Polokwane, today being the 30th of Shaban in South Africa. The moon was not sighted in South Africa last night, and while many parts around the world have already embraced and ushered in the month of Ramadan. They have started fasting. We know Saudi Arabia, Palestine, even our neighbors here on the southern tip of Africa, on southern African countries, many of them Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Botswana, Mozambique. All of them have started and the fast today, and the month of Ramadan has started for many of them, and we continue making dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a blessed month of Ramadan, a month filled with mercy, which it is also the month of the Quran, and also the month of universal brotherhood. And once again, there will be a focus, and as we have seen year in and year out, the month of Ramadan, Masjid Al-Aqsa coming under the spotlight. And again, we have learned about Israel announcing limitations on Palestinians, granting them access to Masjid al-Aqsa in this holy month of Ramadan. So we will be focusing on that very shortly. We've got Areej Alastal, Palestinian activist, who is on standby. And also later on in the program, we will be talking with Maulana Ibrahim Bam, the Secretary General of the Jamiat al-Ulama South Africa and Hilal Coordinator for the United Ulama Council of South Africa, because after the moon was not, after it was announced that the moon was not sighted in South Africa, there was a lot of discussion with regard to regional sightings as to why they are not accepted and what is the United Ulama Council's position on this. So at around 10 minutes to 10, we will be joined by Maulana Ibrahim Bam to provide an insight and to unpack what the position is, because it is not going to go away. We've seen this in the past. It's been a subject of much discussion, a lot of debate that has been taking place. And in fact, last night I was one of the groups on one of the groups and just watching this debate unfolding with all the divergent and different points of view on this particular matter. But we will get Maulana Bam to provide clarity and to unpack why the situation is different here in South Africa. But before that, we're going to go for a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to be joined by Areej Alastal out of Palestine this morning.
Scholars, and it only goes to eligible rights holders. So, harness the power of your zakah with Islamic Relief.
Tune into Salam Media via audio stream.
This is something that I've reiterated to City Power and those that have basically been logging the calls, that we need to draw the distinction between Lenasia and Lenasia South. This is Lenasia South. It's a complete different suburb to Lenasia, plus minus 11 kilometers away from Lenasia. And yesterday and last night, everybody was waiting in anticipation for the lights to return. Unfortunately, the lights did not return as anticipated, which I anticipated, and I knew it won't happen. They then said, no, they are busy repairing the fault and they will work throughout the night. But then there was a conflicting messages going on, because what City Power was saying was that they are on site, and the councillor for the local community, she said that no, she's been informed by City Power that they have all gone home and they will continue with the fault this evening. But I think we need to face the reality of what is actually happening in the ground. And I've had, again, a number of engagements on social media with the officials of the city of Joburg with no response at all from any official.
Multi-award-winning journalist and media personality, Faisal Patel.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
For a long time, we've lived in a centralized world where institutions held the all-important data and confirmed all transactions. Those times are over. Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain developing company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back in your hands with no middleman so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
Well, the time is just gone 19 minutes past 9 as we continue with the broadcast, and the focus is on the month of Ramadan. The focus is in Palestine. The focus is around Masjid Al-Aqsa, which is a central point here for the month of Ramadan. We know many people will be going across to Palestine. Many people from all around the world to perform the itikaf in Masjid Al-Aqsa, and at the same time, the solidarity that we show with the people of Palestine during this great month and this holiest month for the Muslim Ummah. But this doesn't go without controversy once again, and year in and year out, we've seen the Zionist regime making all sorts of announcements, and this time around again, they have made announcements about restrictions on Palestinians entering Masjid Al-Aqsa during the month of Ramadan. And this is the reason why we are talking with Palestinian activists this morning, Sister Areej Alastal. Sister Areej, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Kareem to you. Your Ramadan has started in Palestine. We wish you well. We wish all the people of Palestine well, and also the Muslim Ummah at large during this beautiful and glorious noble month of Ramadan.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah Akram, thank you so much for having me this morning. And yes, here in Palestine, Ramadan has started, and today is the first day of Ramadan. We are fasting, and of course we are praying. Of course, our every prayer we are praying for Al-Aqsa Mosque. We are praying for Palestine, and I wish and hope and pray next year all of us we will be inside Al-Aqsa Mosque in Ramadan, inshallah.
Well, inshallah, and this is our dua and our prayer as well, over and over again for our Muslim brothers and sisters right across the entire world, and Palestine, year in, year out, and for over 70 years. Ramadan has come, Ramadan has gone, and the situation is still very, very dire. It's a very critical situation for the people of Palestine. And in the month of Ramadan, for some reason or the other, this brutal Zionist regime called Israel, always tries to make life difficult for the people of Palestine in Ramadan.
Yes, exactly. Well, this is a really, really holy month for all Muslims, and we try to reach or to go to Al-Aqsa Mosque, but the Israeli occupation does put his restrictions, and it makes Palestinians are not allowed to enter or even have access to this mosque, because they know how much Al-Aqsa Mosque means to us. So they try in a way or so try to let me say upset us, or try just to in a way or so make us feel that we can't do anything. So it's really hard. Me here in Gaza, I can't even reach to just pray a prayer in Al-Aqsa Mosque. So it is hard, and their restrictions are really, really tough, and no one actually can enter Al-Aqsa Mosque specifically in Ramadan without following without following their criteria that they have put. They did put
Yes.
a really, really serious one criteria.
And just talking about these restrictions, Israel now gets to decide who goes into Al-Aqsa
Yes.
and who doesn't, Sister Areej.
Yes, exactly. So if we were talking about the restrictions and who enters and who doesn't, they said all women from the West Bank are allowed to enter. But talking about men, not all men are allowed to enter. They have to be above 55 years old. And about children, they have to be under 12. So speaking about these kind of restrictions, it's really hard. So can you imagine that you like me, I'm just 20, I'm not allowed to enter? Why? Because I'm not I'm talking about in Gaza. In Gaza here, women have to be above 50, but in the West Bank, they can be like all women are allowed to enter. So it's really hard. You can't go and pray. It's your right. You're a Muslim and you just want to go and pray as any Muslim in the world can go. You're not allowed to enter. There are so many hard restrictions. And even in Al-Aqsa mosque itself, they try to provoke the Palestinians there in order just to make a kind of a kind of a kind of a show to the world that, oh, Palestinians, look, they are not praying, they are doing something else. So they are really, really, it's like a game for them. They're waiting for Ramadan just to provoke Palestinians there.
Yes, and talking of provoking, this provocation we've seen over and over again. We've seen it even during the last Ramadan, and I'm sure this time around it will be absolutely no different, because this is a
Of
deliberate
course.
move on the part
And
of Israel to make it difficult, even if it is the most sacred month and the most holiest month for the Palestinians and for Muslims right around the world.
of course, to be honest here, this Ramadan, maybe it's a little bit different. I mean, it's going to be maybe, who knows, it's going to be worse because we are here with a new government. And the new government and how this government is not like the previous one. It's even harsher, it's even more difficult. So being or having Ramadan with this kind of government, we don't know what is happening. And even here in Gaza, there is a threat for a new aggression to happen. Maybe let me just say, every day, even today in as-suhoor, before al-fajr, the warplanes were in the sky, like for nothing, just to make threat for us. So even here in Palestine, there is a threat for starting a new aggression. If they are breaking the holy month that we as Muslims are waiting year after year, we're waiting for it. Even in Gaza here, they tend to actually start an aggression every Ramadan. Sadly, we don't have Eid or even Ramadan, none of them. Like not last year, but the year before. This is what happened to us. It wasn't Ramadan. It was a threat. It was just an aggression, a bloody aggression. We're praying. For our beloved ones, for ourselves, just to be safe. So let me say, the Israeli occupation does really know when to start and how to start, because they have chosen the specific time of the year where all Muslims and we're waiting for this, because it's a holy month that is really, really precious to us, and they have chosen let me say, the correct time for them to just show themselves. So it's really hard. It is really hard.
Yes, and also Ramadan is a highly spiritual, but also at the looking at families and families that get together, and the restrictions that are placed on the movement of people going to meet their families, meeting their relatives, the permit system that has also been introduced.
Well, there's actually, if you want to visit your relative, I'm talking about in the West Bank, you do have to have a security approval. So can you imagine, like, anyone in the world can visit their relatives, their beloved ones, but here in Palestine, no, you have to have a security approval in order to have access to the place you're going to. So if someone from the West Bank wants to visit one of his relatives, because Ramadan, it's the month of Silat al-Rahim, and how all of us want to visit our families and our beloved ones. But in Palestine, it's different. You have to have a security approval. So if someone from the West Bank wants to go to the places of the 1948, you do have to have a security approval. And let me just tell you that the Israeli occupation does not give the security approval for anyone. No, they can just say no for nothing. Even if you didn't do anything, or even if you did follow the rules and everything, the restrictions, they can say no to you, because they just want to provoke you. This is them. Like, if you just want to go just to visit your aunt or any one of your relatives, just maybe like for an hour, you can't. You're not allowed. So, like,
Yes.
how sad is this?
Sister Areej, I just wanted to speak a bit about Gaza and being under blockade, and there have been severe problems. Lack of electricity, water is a problem. You know, goods, food, medication, all of that coming in and out as well. Just take us through this Ramadan experience as to how people cope on a day-to-day basis. When it comes to things like their food and their needs and satisfying their needs during the month of Ramadan.
Okay, well, here in Gaza, we're, you know, how we are under the siege and how it's really hard, how we're living a life, the Palestinians' life here in Gaza. It's a little bit, it's hard. It's not a little bit hard, but it is hard. There's poverty. This month, which is the holy month, where people actually do need like food and everything. Some people, sadly, not some, but there are number of people who cannot even put food on the table for their families, and this is due to the Israeli occupation, due to what they are doing, what they are putting laws and everything, restrictions on them. So it's really really hard. Maybe this Ramadan, there's a kind of in Gaza, maybe if you go in shops or go in the street, you can just listen to the really sad stories, like a father who cannot even buy some food for his family, or a mother who wants to bring maybe a kind to just her. I did actually hear a story. It really did break my heart. Of course, we do try to help. This woman who just said, "My child wants to decorate the house, to put lights and everything like people do," and she said, "We can't even bring food to bring the decoration for them." So it was really heartbreaking. And since you know that a number of people do not have fathers because they have been killed and murdered by the Israeli occupation, so they don't even have a father to bring them food or bring them anything. So it's really hard. It is really hard. And the other part of the Palestinians here is just say, "Oh, this Ramadan, we're waiting for the war. Sorry, for the aggression. Of course, there is an aggression coming. Oh, why don't they start? When is it going to start? Of course, this Ramadan will have an aggression. Of course, we won't have Eid." We do have this kind of threat every Ramadan. It's really hard. Like, you're just waiting. You can hear the war planes in the sky, and you're just waiting. When is it going to start? Okay, when? And even the children are they are happy. I'm not saying they are not happy. They are happy, but they do have this kind of threat. Is this Ramadan going to be like the previous Ramadan? Are we going to be like, are we going to lose our life, or the life of our beloved ones? So it's not the best as you think, but alhamdulillah, we're here. We're here praying for ourselves and praying for our sisters and brothers in the West Bank.
Well, inshallah, and we continue praying, we continue making dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept everyone's prayers. And just finally, Sister Areej, coming back to Masjid Al-Aqsa, and we know that during the month of Ramadan, a lot more people come to Masjid Al-Aqsa from
Yes.
all around the world. And I know how much the Palestinians appreciate the fact that people are showing solidarity with them. We know many South Africans generally go, and from many other parts around the world, not only for the itikaf in Masjid Al-Aqsa, but also showing their support and the solidarity with the people of Palestine in this month of Ramadan.
Well, let me say, this really do mean so much to us, since us as Palestinians, we cannot even have access to Masjid al-Aqsa. So people coming from all around the world and just showing their solidarity, showing the love for Masjid al-Aqsa and Palestinians really does mean a lot to us. And we just feel that Ramadan just as a kind of brings us all together as one hand, as an ummah, as Muslims, as one hand. So it really does mean a lot to us. And seeing people in Ramadan eating together in suhoor or in al-futur, breaking their fast together, or even in suhoor, it's really sweet, and it's really nice, just showing solidarity and showing all people people, all Muslims as one hand. And let me say, even it's a message for the Israeli occupation that regardless what you do, regardless of normalization, Muslims are Muslims, and they are one hand, one heart, and they came from different parts of the world just to show solidarity, just to show love for Palestine and Masjid Al-Aqsa, and of course for Al-I'tikaf. So it does really mean a lot for us. And I want to just say, please, for people who can really go and or come to Masjid Al-Aqsa, please come, because you coming means a lot to us, and it just shows your love and your solidarity with Al-Aqsa and with us. So yeah, we really do appreciate it.
Well, inshallah, and we will continue making that appeal for people to go in their thousands, inshallah. And our
Inshallah.
du'as, our solidarity with the people of Palestine will always be there, Sister Areej. And we make dua for your well-being, for the well-being of the people of Palestine in this holy month of Ramadan, and also out of the month of Ramadan. Always that support for people of Palestine will always be there. And we also request your humble du'as, your sincere du'as for the Muslim
Of
Ummah
course.
right across the entire world, and particularly those that are suffering, like the people of Palestine, with occupation, with oppression in many other parts around the world as well. So we request your dua for us and for all Muslims around the world, inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Of course, we're praying for all Muslims around the world, because we are sisters and brothers. Inshallah. Because today is the first day. Inshallah, I will pray for all Muslims as usual. Inshallah. Thank you.
Ameen. Jazakallah for that. And as always, for your time with us here on Salam Media, Sister Areej.
Thank
Assalamu
you.
alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much.
Areej Alastal with us, a Palestinian activist, just providing an overview on the latest restrictions that were announced on the day that the month of Ramadan has started. And once again, we need to continue reminding ourselves that as we are about to embrace and usher in this month of Ramadan here in South Africa this evening with the first Taraweeh and tomorrow being the first fast, that we continue making dua for the Ummah at large right across the entire world. Year in, year out, Ramadan comes, Ramadan goes, and we find that the situation as far as the Ummah is getting worse. And right across the world, whether we're looking at Palestine, we're looking at Kashmir, we're looking at the Rohingya, we're looking at the people in on the African continent, in Somalia, and also countries like China, for instance, where severe repression is taking place against the Muslims, particularly in the month of Ramadan. The other day, I saw a post that just Ramadan being the month of the Noble Quran, and for just possessing the Noble Quran in her house, there was a woman that was jailed for 5 years. And we know about force feeding that take place in the month of Ramadan with the Uyghur Muslims in the Xinjiang province. So there is just so much oppression that is taking place right across the entire world. And it appears from the oppressors that they find the ideal opportunity. They find the month of Ramadan, which matters most to the Muslim Ummah, to continue with the oppression, and some of it in the most horrific sense of the word. So let us spare a thought for our Muslim brothers and sisters right across the entire world. Alhamdulillah, we are in a comfort zone. We enjoy a relatively peaceful and a relaxed Ramadan atmosphere, whereas in many other parts of the world they don't. And as the study spoke about, the hunger, the poverty, where people don't even know where the next meal is coming from, the refugee crisis right across the entire world. Yet it is said that in many parts around the Muslim world, in the Arab world in particular, there are even reports of obesity, of overindulgence in the month of Ramadan. And this is definitely not in the spirit of this glorious month of Ramadan. The time is just gone 9:37. We come back, we'll be joined by Sandile Swana.